What's up, everybody? Louis back here again, here to break down UFC Vegas 32. Quick recap: last weekend I did all right. I went 5-2. Not what I wanted, but I did all right. The only ones I got wrong, well, Ruiz and Amanda Lemos. Ruiz is a plus 400 underdog. I really knew she probably wasn't gonna win, but I had to take my shot on her. But Lemos is dangerous and caught her coming in, so congrats to Lemos. And then Marion Renault and Miesha Tate. I took a shot on Marion Renault, but Miesha Tate looked amazing after 6 years off. You really couldn't even tell she took that much time off. And I'm excited to see what she does in the division. And then the main event, Makhachev handling Moises like that. He looked really good. He was really patient, didn't rush. Started off a little slow. Moises took him down, but didn't matter. Makhachev got reversed him, and went through a little bit of adversity, but handled himself. So now he's at a position where he's gonna basically he has to fight a big name, and he's calling a lot of guys out. So it's awesome. The 155 division is very exciting. I'm looking forward to this weekend. We got huge main event: TJ Dillashaw and Corey Sandhagen. Dillashaw taking tears off after EPO suspension, and Corey Sandhagen, on the verge of a title shot here. So it's a big main event. And 135. Things are a little complicated, but I think this fight answers a lot of questions, and we'll see who's next. And you also got another fun bantamweight: Kyler Phillips, Rowley, and Piva. And in the women's division, at 125, you got Miranda Maverick and Macy Barber, two prospects. Basically, win or go home. Whoever wins this fight's, going to go on to be successful in the division, be a name, and whoever loses, that won't be gone, but, the hype will die down. Barber, it's do or die for her. And Maverick, if she loses, it'll be okay, but, if she wins, she'll really be a prospect. She'll really shoot up into the upper level of the division, so should be fun. And then you got Adrien, Yanez, and Costa, just a really fun bantamweight fight. So, a lot of fun fights, a lot of important fights. It's an exciting time for the sport, and, last weekend wasn't the most exciting, but this weekend is, and you got a lot of important fights. So I'm looking forward to this one. I did my research, a lot of decent spots, closer spots than last weekend, and looking to go 7-0 as always. Main event on the prelims, we got 185. Men's middleweight, Adrien Imavov, and taking on Ian Heineck. Nasruddin, last fight he took on Phil Hawes. First round, he gets rushed and hit with combos. He gets wobbled with leg kicks at the beginning. Then he gets clenched up for a long time up against the fence, like a couple minutes. Nothing really happened, but Imavov just really couldn't move out of there. So I noticed that. And Heineck is a good wrestler, so that's something to be concerned about, I think. Then in the second round, Hawes takes a single, and then he clinches him up on the fence again. But then Nasruddin comes forward with the left and then a right hook, and he actually wobbles Phil Hawes for a second, but then he gets taken down with a double after he's thrown his overhand right. Gets a little overzealous there. And then Hawes gets in the half guard and rides him out for the rest of the round. Then in the third round, he gets taken down immediately with a double leg as he's coming forward to throw his overhand. Again, probably getting a little overzealous because he rocked him the round before. But then he gets back to his feet relatively easily. He lands a left hook, but then he gets clinched again. He lands a knee to the head off of the exit to the clinch, and then he chases him down with hooks, but then he gets clinched to the fence again to end it. So, he definitely had his moments, definitely had some power, but just got clinched to the fence, and the grappling might be a little much for him. Ian Heineck, his last fight, he took on Kelvin Gastelum. First round, he gets the double leg right away, but Kelvin gets right back to his feet, but still a decent statement to get Kelvin down because he's such a good wrestler. Then Ian goes for the Kimura, but Kelvin just stays on top and throws his hips in and is able to keep the position, which I don't know why he went for that. He wasn't going to get it. He held on to it too long, in my opinion. But then he gets clinched and taken down with mat returns, and then back on the feet, he gets jabbed from distance. Then the second round, he lands a right hook, lands a flying knee, but he gets taken down off of it with a double leg. And then he gets to his feet. He's in standing back control, and then he's able to get out from that and get back to his feet. Then he lands a nice body kick when they're striking. And then in the third round, he lands a short right as Kelvin moves forward, but then he's able to get Kelvin with a blast double, but Kelvin gets right back up, and then he gets hit with a combination and a head kick from Kelvin. And then he gets taken down off of a flying knee again, but he's able to reverse with the Grimby roll and get back control and almost get in the rear naked choke position on Kelvin, which looked really good. And then they're back on their feet, then they just trade double legs. Kelvin, upper level of the division, had some losses, but he's losing to good guys. So I think Heineck had a good showing. I think he won the third round. Take a look at the betting odds. Heineck is minus 155. Adrien is plus 135. I like Heineck here. I know Adrien has power, but I think Heineck's wrestling is going to be too much for him. He's able to take Kelvin Gastelum down. I mean, as long as Adrien doesn't crack on with those big shots, and even if he does, I think Heineck will be able to clinch him up. I think his ring IQ is good, so I think Heineck will just be able to control the majority of the fight. My pick here is Ian Heineck. First fight on the main card, at least it should be. Some of the fights got switched around. But 185, Punelli Soriano taking on Brendan Allen. Very fun match at middleweight between two prospects. Punelli, his last fight, took on Dusko Todorovic. Not too much of this fight, but I thought he looked good. Stalks forward and chases. He throws the overhand right as he extends himself and throws it. He gets jabbed, and then with returns, but he returns with the overhand on Todorovic off of Todorovic's jab, and then he stalks forward and he drops him with the straight left, and then he backs him up against the cage, throws a left and drops him again, and he gets the KO. With combination, he just tees off on him. Todorovic throws his head out there, and it's pretty easy for him, to get hit. But Punelli took advantage of it, and he's got a lot of power, so it was a good showing for him. And Brendan Allen, his last fight, he took on Carl Roberson. First round, he lands a head kick at range. He throws hooks, and then he clinches up on the fence, and then he gets the trip takedown into full guard, which is his specialty. That's where he wants to be. So good on him, because his last fight against Sean Strickland, he kept it on the feet and got knocked the fuck out. And Allen's not a bad striker, but he's not as good a striker as Sean Strickland. Definitely not as good of a striker as Punelli Soriano. So that's good, and hopefully he can do that this fight. And then did some work in full guard, back on feet again. He gets a body trip takedown whenever Robertson stands up. And then Robertson rolls for a leg lock, but Allen, he's able to get a heel hook. That was get the submission win. Just bad ring IQ on Robertson. I don't know why you would want to play a leg lock game with Brendan Allen. But yeah, Brendan Allen looked good. A little bit striking, was able to hold his own on the feet and then get to the clinch. Soriano has a ton of power. I think, if Allen tries to go toe-for-toe with him in striking, he's going to probably get knocked out. I think if he can last him for a round and get the clinch as much as possible, I think the later the fight goes on, the more it favors Allen. I think Soriano will get tired, especially if he's throwing big power shots the whole time. The betting line's even, minus 110 for both guys. I'm going to go with the guy that has grappling in his repertoire. My pick here is Brendan Allen. Right on the main card, you got a fun banger at bantamweight, 135, Adrien Yanez taking on Randy Costa. Not the highest ranked matchup, but whoever wins this fight, especially if it's in impressive fashion, is going to move up the ranks quickly and make a name for themselves. And, there's 4 bantamweight fights on this card, I think, so it's a good showcase for that weight class. Yanez took on Gustavo Lopez his last fight. First round, lands counter right as Lopez comes in. He eats a right hook, but then he lands a counter right uppercut off of Lopez's jab. He lands straight lefts in the firefight, stays outside, picks his shots. Round 2, lands a counter left as Lopez comes off the fence, and then he's able to drop him with a counter right hook. Yanez, very disciplined, throws straight shots, doesn't get too wild, conserve his energy. And then in the third round, he gets a knockout with a counter right as Lopez rushes forward, looking to throw hooks. Like I said, Yanez, he just picks his shots, and, he waits for the other guy to make a mistake, and, he's precision, knocks people out. So good on him. And then Randy Costa, last fight, he took on Journey Newsome. First round, stays on the outside, feints a jab, and then he gets the knockout with a head kick really fast. Just stayed on the outside, waited for Newsome to make a move, and then blasted him with a head kick. It was beautiful to watch. And then before that, he took on Boston Salmon. First round, he gets pressed defense with hooks, Boston throwing hooks, and presses him up against the fence. But then the whole time, Costa's looking to throw counters, picking his shots. And then he comes forward and lands a counter left hook. And then he comes forward and lands a few straight shots. And then Randy stalks him and drops him with a straight right. And then he just gets a knockout with a TKO on the ground. So Costa a little bit of the same. Looks to throw, pick his shots, not waste too much energy. He gets clinched up a little bit, but overall he gets the job done. These guys have a similar style, I think, counter strikers. And they're both precise and pick their shots. So the betting line, I think, is a little wide. Costa's plus 185. Yanez is minus 225. Honestly, deep down, I kind of like Yanez here, but for the betting line, I don't think Yanez is worth minus 225 in this fight. I think it's a very even fight. So for the betting line, plus 185, I think Costa can get it done for that price. My pick here is Randy Costa. Third fight on the main card, you got a pivotal women's matchup at flyweight 125. Miranda Maverick taking on Macy Barber. Maverick wins. She's up to the top level competition. If Barber wins, she might be going home, or at the very least, busted prospect. But it should be a good fight. I like both ladies. A lot of hype behind both of them. Miranda Maverick, her last fight, she took on Jillian Robertson. Jillian Robertson's a veteran, the division. First round, she comes forward, lands hooks, stays on the outside, and evades. And then she moves in with combos and kicks. And then she catches Robertson's kick and lands some ground and pound in full guard. And then she's able to get the double leg back on the feet. And then in the second round, little adversity for her. She gets taken down after throwing a jab. She gets taken down in a half guard and then back control. And, Robertson's working her, but, Maverick is Robertson's an experienced grappler. Maverick's the first time Maverick's been down there, and she fends off all the submissions. Takes her a little while to get out, but she keeps fighting the whole time, keeps moving, stays active, and gets out. 30 seconds left to go. A little moral victory, lost a round, but looked good. And we're ready to go into the third round. Then the third round, she blitzes with combinations against the fence. She's able to stuff Robertson's high single. She sprawls and gets back control in the cradle position. And then she gets on top and she's able to fend the armbar attempt. And then she gets her back taken, but she swims out of it. And then back on the feet, she lands combinations against the fence and then gets the double leg takedown at the end and is able to outstrike her and fought through some adversity. And she wins 2 rounds to 1. Robinson, not the best fighter, but very good test for Maverick. Somebody who's very young and, new to the UFC. I thought she looked really good. Then Macy Barber, her last fight, she took on Alexa Grasso. Real quick note for Barber, she's just too far away when she's throwing feints or anything. And then by the time, she fakes and tries to move in, she just can't get there in time. So that was her problem in this fight. First round, she gets countered with combination. As she's throwing a hook, she rushes in to get the clinch on the fence, but she eats knees and elbows when she's in the clinch. She lands the right hook, but she also gets hit in the firefight. In the second round, she stands out of range, but then she gets hit with combos whenever Grasso moves forward, and then she gets hit with the right uppercut and a left hook, but she gets the clinch, but it goes back and forth, so she has trouble keeping the clinch on the fence, and she lands a body kick, and then she gets a double to full guard, but she gets put in a deep armbar, and then she gets reversed, and she gets her back taken off of that. And then in the third round, she rushes in with hooks, but barely lands anything. And then she gets clinched and eats knees up against the fence. But she gets the body lock trip takedown into full guard. And back on the feet, she stalks. And she throws wild hooks because she's desperate at this point. She does some damage in the clinch, but then she gets reversed on the cage. And then she gets countered with straight shots. Macy, to her credit, turned it on the third round, did what she needed to do. Came swinging hard, just swinging a little too wild, and was able to get countered. But, she got beat the first couple rounds, but, at least she turned on at the end. And, with Maverick, I think it's going to be a close, scrappy fight, and that's what you want out of a fighter. But, Maverick's scrappy herself. And, I think the I don't really know who the grappling advantage goes to. I think Maverick, if Maverick can have a good takedown attempt, I think you should be able to get Macy down there. But you look at the betting line, Macy's plus 125, Maverick is minus 145. It's a close one. I really like Maverick, though. I like she's able to battle through adversity, and, she hits pretty hard. And, Macy, like I said, she's just a little too far to land anything sometimes. And I think whoever gets a takedown, that's going to be a big deciding factor. Or if whoever gets it, whoever can keep the person down, actually, that's going to be the deciding factor. I think Maverick can do it. My pick here is Miranda Maverick. Fight on the main card, you got Darren Elkins taking on Derek Minner at 145. Should be a fun scrap at men's featherweight division that we're still awaiting the results of Ortega and Volkanovski fight. So, maybe a new star can emerge out of this fight with an exciting finish. But Elkins, last fight, took on Eduardo Gagardi. First round, he gets a double leg takedown right away, and he's able to get multiple mat returns and control him, which is always good to see. Second round, he gets hit with the jab. He's stalking forward with his hands down, getting a little reckless, but he's able to get the single leg takedown up against the fence. He lands knees and clinch, but then his double gets stuffed, and he gets hit with the uppercut and a right, and then at range, he gets hit with a jab, but then he lands a double from space after getting pieced up a little bit on the feet, in my opinion. So, maybe a little reckless getting takedowns and is available to get countered. Third round, he dives for the single, but he gets stuffed. He gets hit with the jab at range. He gets rocked with a straight right, but then he's able to get a desperate body lock and in the standing back hack position, and gets the rear naked choke submission. Very impressive from him. You know, he was able to persevere and he's able to take some shots, but he did get rocked, and you know, he gets hit a little much for my liking, but he's able to pull it out and get the submission. So it was a good performance by him. Derek Minner, last fight, took on Charles Rosa. Just quick note, Derek Minner's coach is James Krause, and that's not a real stat that could help somebody, but, you know, I think that's a huge advantage having James Krause in your corner. Yeah, he just pushes over the heads. I know Gina Mazzoni lost, but he's an amazing coach, and if it's a close fight, which I think this is going to be, a great pep talk from James Krause can really get the guy going and just get him to dig deep and get the finish. Like Davey Grant had, you know, that was just amazing. It was close. That was a close fight, and I think this is going to be a close one. I think it's really going to help him, so something to take note of. First round, he's able to land a knee to the head from the clinch. He swings wild, a flurry up against the fence, but then he gets a single leg takedown into full guard. But he's able to stop all Rosa's submission attempts. You know, Rosa's decent on the ground, and you know he was hip to it, so good for him. And then second round, he's able to drop Rosa with hooks as Rosa rushes forward, and then he's able to get back control and then gets into full mount. And then he gets in a deep arm triangle attempt. Some might say he should have just let him up and hit him, but it is what it is. Got the knockdown and controlled him on the ground, went for a submission, so, you know, dominated that round at the very least. And then the third round, he rushes in, lands hooks, and he stuffs a shot, and he gets some referee position around his back on the ground. And then he's able to stuff the Kimura attempt, and he's able to get back control and ride out the rest of the fight. You know, Minner looked really good on the ground. You know, Charles Rosa, you know, not the most skilled fighter, but decent on the ground, has some decent submissions, and he was able to stuff them all. He looked good on the ground, very fluid. Minner, minus 150. Elkins, plus 130. Like I said, very close fight. But, you know, I really think that James Krause is going to help, and I think Minner is a little bit more fluid on the ground, and Elkins gets hit a little too much. So the price isn't too bad. My pick here is Derek Minner. Main event in the main card, you have a fun banger and an important match for rankings. The bottom of the top 15, you know, whoever wins this is going to jump up into the top 10, hopefully. 135, Kyler Phillips taking on Raleigh and Piva. Kyler Phillips coming off the big victory versus Song Yadong. Song Yadong had a close split decision victory over Marlon Vera, who just had a big win in his last fight. So, you know, bantamweight's pretty interesting. First round of that fight, Phillips comes forward, lands a head kick, and then a spinning back kick to the body, stays on the fence, and then he's able to take the center of the octagon, but then he backs up. Yeah, he's in and out. Lands 1-2, Song moves in, lands straight right, but gets countered with a left hook by Song, gets a double leg from space, but Song's able to get right up, but he's still able to get the takedown in a close round, but then he gets hit with a few uppercuts. Second round, lands a head kick at range. He clinches off Song's jab and lands the elbow, and then they break, and he lands a jab at range. He's able to stay on the outside, pick his shots, gets a double leg whenever Song throws a jab, and he counters with the left hook in the pocket. Then in the third round, he gets hit to the body on the clinch attempt, but he gets hit with a combination whenever Song's stalking forward. But then he gets a double leg as Song moves forward, and then he gets back control, but Song reverses. But, you know, he's still able to initiate and get on the ground. And, you know, he looked pretty good. It was a relatively close fight. I think Phillips had the bigger moments. He was able to slip and counter Yadong. Yadong is like a bully, comes forward the whole time. And, you know, Phillips did good to stay on the outside. Raleigh and Piva, last fight, took on Zhalgas Zhumagulov. Quick important note, Piva is up from flyweight. So that's not a good sign. I really don't know if he plans on staying up or going down. I would imagine if he wins, he might plan on staying up, but who really knows? But, you know, he's the smaller guy coming in here, significantly smaller. And then another quick note, he takes a center and presses forward. That's his style. First round, he lands a right hand as Zhalgas moves forward, and then he lands a body kick. However, he gets taken down with an ankle pick from range. It's like a high-level ankle pick, like shoulder to ankle. And then in the second round, he stalks and gets hit to the body. He presses to the fence and lands a combination, then clinches, but gets dropped with the last 10 seconds. And then in the third round, he gets hit with the right hook as he's moving forward, but he gets taken down with a double, but he gets up. He's in the front headlock position. Then he gets hit with the left hook, but then he gets taken down with the double as he's moving forward, but he gets out of in the standing back control. So, he was able to land some shots. He got controlled a little bit from Zalgas. I thought takedowns made the difference. And, even though Kyler couldn't really keep Yudong down, he still was able to mix in takedowns. I think that's important. And then you look at the betting line, Piva plus 225, Phillips minus 280. Don't love the price, it's a lot. But, Kyler really impressed me his last fight. He's able to get those close victories. And, Piva coming up from flyweight, that's no good. And, he just, get taken down a little too much. And, he's liable to get hit. Close one, but my pick here is Kyler Phillips. For the main event, we got a huge matchup at bantamweight. Corey Sandhagen taking on TJ Dillashaw after a 2-year layoff and an EPO suspension. Very interesting fight here. I think whoever wins this fight gets a title shot. I don't know how they don't. Corey Sandhagen's been on a tear recently, knocking out Marlon Moraes and Frankie Edgar. Tough loss to Adrien, got dominated, but bounced back, couldn't ask for any more from him. So Sandhagen last fight took on Frankie Edgar. Very quick fight. He just stays on the outside, pumps his jab, and then Frank Edgar's moved in, dips his head a little bit to shoot for the double, and just knocks him the fuck out with a flying knee. Kills him, literally. Very sad for Frankie because he's a great fighter, but Sandhagen's here to stay, man, and he got it done. And then before that, he took on Marlon Moraes. First round, stays on the outside, lands leg kicks, then he backs out, just picks his shots, stays selective, and then he gets hit with hard leg kicks from Marlon, and then he gets hit with the jab and a few right hands. Marlon's hitting him over the jab, but he lands an uppercut, and then he backs out of range, lands body kick, lands a leg kick, and then a knee to the body, throws the leg kick, and then clinches, and then lands knee to the body and gets out. Just always sticking and moving. But he gets taken down off his kick the last 10 seconds, but it didn't really matter. And, he's not going to do that again. And then the second round, pumps his jab, and then gets the knockout with a spinning back head kick out of nowhere, basically. Knocks him the hell out again. Just very smart, stays, picks his shots, doesn't rush into anything. And he has a touch of death, apparently, and he's just perfect when he throws those knees and those kicks. And then TJ Dillashaw, his last fight, he got knocked out by Henry Cejudo, but he cut down to 125, and he was on the EPO. That's a whole thing, so can't really count that too much. But fight before that, it was a rematch against Cody Garbrandt. It was a while ago, but it's the latest data we have from him. First round, stays on the outside. He comes in, lands a body kick, but he gets rushed with the 1-2 by Cody. And then he gets rushed with the barrage by Cody, but he lands counter rights, and he's able to drop Cody. And then he gets behind him and lands some ground and pound. And then back on the feet, he lands a right as Cody moves in. And then he lands another right, and then he drops him and gets the TKO. Dillashaw has power. He picks his shots, but the fight before that, he got dropped. So, he might be susceptible to get his fire fights, and Cody hurt him a little bit here in this fight. So he's going to have to watch that. But he does have wrestling. But, Frank Edgar has good wrestling, and Sandhagen handled that. So, it's a really tough fight just mostly because of the 2-year layoff thing and everything, and also the EPO. Is he still, does he need it? Was he on every fight? Who really knows? But the 2-year layoff is the biggest deciding factor for me here. I think the game's evolved past him. I mean, look at what happened to Connor. That was only a year off. But take a look at the betting line. TJ plus 165. Corey Sandhagen minus 195. TJ's not that huge of an underdog to make up for the 2-year layoff, in my opinion. Sandhagen really close to 200, but man, if anybody deserves to be minus 200, it's Corey Sandhagen. Just murdered 2 guys. It's a close one. Honestly, if TJ Dillashaw pulls it out, I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's going to be closer than people think. I think TJ is going to look really good, but I think Sandhagen's going to pull it out. My pick here is Corey Sandhagen. Guys, thank you for listening to me. I really appreciate it. Please comment below, follow me, like me, whatever. Follow me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, in case I have any changes of picks. I don't think I will. And then I do a recap on my Snapchat. Might start doing that on YouTube or something, but right now just do it real quick right after the fight on Snapchat. And please comment, talk about it. If you're taking my picks, let me know if you won or lost money, and ask me some questions. Even if you disagree with me, I'm more than happy to get into conversation. Maybe you guys can teach me something. Who knows? But yeah, very excited for this fight. Corey Sandhagen, TJ Dillashaw, that could become an event on a pay-per-view. A very important fight here. you know, something to remember, TJ Dillashaw never actually lost his title. So, of course, Heineck wins, basically beating, you know, the champion, champion that never actually lost to anybody. And then, you know, next weekend you got Pitbull taking on AJ McKee. I know it's in Bellator, but still part of MMA. Just very exciting time. And you can see what happens after that fight as it relates to the UFC. You know, if AJ McKee wins or Pitbull wins, you know, who really is the best featherweight? You know, I just love that for the entire sport. And Uriah Hall is taking on Sean Strickland. Not the highest rated matchup, but whoever wins that matchup is going to be a new contender in middleweight. And that's always fun. The sport's always moving and evolving, and it's awesome. And then later on in a couple weeks, you got Gone taking on Derek Lewis for heavyweight. Every single division is moving, and there's new developments, and it's just very exciting. So it's a great time to be a fan. I'm glad I decided to do this, and you know, get the most involved with the fights as I can, and learn as much about these fighters as I can. And you know, some of the lower fights on the card, you know, a couple cards later, where are they going to be at? You know, maybe they make big jumps, and that's awesome to see. So, you know, I appreciate you guys following me. Goals to go 7-0. I did my research as always. I really think there's some good spots here to win. Not crazy underdogs, but some close. I think there's a lot of close matchups on this card. Going to be some competitive scraps, some dog fights, and that's always exciting. So looking to go 7-0, get that money. Thank you guys.